aggrieved by our decision tonight can appeal to the Regional Commission of the All Kings Highway. Our office administrator will be happy to answer any questions you have with respect to that process. So we thank you in advance for your cooperation. We begin with the first item, which is to seek approval for 28 solar panels that have been already installed on the front roof at 44 West Great Western Road. Gilbert Delphinus is the owner, and Paul Eaton of Trinity Solar is the agent. Are they here, or one of them at least?
Yes, my name is Richard Dauphiné. My father couldn't be here tonight because he passed away on Super Bowl Sunday, so I am now the owner of the home. My mother passed away 5 years ago. And we're seeking approval of the solar panels are already installed. And we were shocked when we got the thing from this committee that we were in violation. We thought it was all taken care of through Trinity Solar at the time. They came in with a building permit to put them up, and we thought it was...
And your name, please?
I'm sorry, Martha Dauphiné, Richard's husband, wife. He's my husband, sorry.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, we're sorry to hear about your dad.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's, he must have been a big football fan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we'll
he
just
didn't
say
quite make it.
He passed away in the third quarter, which is when things finally started happening.
Just started
I don't know
happening.
if there's a correlation, but we think there is.
Well, up to that point, he probably was really disappointed in them.
As were we.
On the edge of his seat. As a lot of us were. So it's understandable that he could go in that circumstance. I don't know if we've had any dealings with Trinity Solar in Yarmouth, in the Old Kings Highway area. There are a lot of installers out there nowadays.
Yeah, they're popping up all over the place.
There are some of them that we've seen numerous times. I don't recall Trinity myself.
We did inform them that they had to contact the Historic Committee. We actually sent them pictures of houses in Yarmouthport, which is right down the street from us, that have solar panels. That was when we told them it was historic. I don't know what happened. They, somewhere between the person that came to the house and presented it to us and the office, the notification to contact you was on. When they called me and said they had the data, I said, that was really quick. I said, you've got even the Historic Committee? And the lady that was scheduling it said, well, they told me it was all set, so it's all set. And I just went, okay. And then we received the notice. So we do apologize. We did try to have this handled prior to, not post. And
Yeah, that's why I say I don't recall dealing with Trinity before. And it's unfortunate because we've been reviewing installations of solar panels ever since they started putting them up. And you would think he would know that.
Are there any abutters here?
When they came to look at the property, did they talk about a possibility of putting them on the back of the house, or was the front the only option?
We have a south-facing house, It doesn't work on the north side.
We do have pictures of the house, if you'd like to
I
see.
think they got 'em.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the orientation of your house is very good for solar panels. And it's clear of trees and everything, all the obstructions.
Right.
There are some, I came across a house the other day that I've driven past it probably 100 times. And suddenly one day I noticed it had solar panels all across the front of the house. And the front of the house faces southwest. So it's not really properly oriented. But the reason I didn't see the solar panels is there's numerous tall pine trees in front of the house, and it was completely in the shade. All the solar panels were in the shade from all these trees, which are evergreen, and it's a situation all year round.
Right.
And
Kind of defeats the purpose.
right, exactly. So I mean, people are putting them on houses that are pointing north, east, west, anything but south. 'Cause there aren't that many pointing south around, as you may notice. And they put them up where there are trees blocking them and so on, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and again, it's the installers should be giving them the proper advice.
We couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it doesn't look as though any amount of screening would obscure the view of the panels as you drive by or by the house.
There were, the two houses that we happen to take pictures of, they don't have, it appears to me, they don't have any screening at all
Is
in
that
front
right?
of their house, and they are both, the panels are on the front roofs. One of them's on Helmsman, and the other one is on Cheyenne, which is, I don't know if you're
Right
familiar with
across.
West Great Western,
Yeah,
but it's
well-
really less than a mile away.
Right. The one on Cheyenne had several trees blocking it when they first did the job.
Oh, and then they took them down?
Yep.
So are you suggesting we put up trees and take them down? I'm not sure.
No. No. The problem that we have is we deal with structures and setting. And you would think that trees, being part of the setting, would be considered structures. But they're not by law. Hedges are.
Okay.
Lawyers are not exactly the smartest people around, but hedges are. And so if you had a big row of hedges across the front of your house, and some of them on Cape Cod I've seen are like 15 feet tall, you know, and especially if you go down towards Brewster on Setauket Road, you see some pretty big hedges.
Sure.
And it takes a lot of effort to trim them and keep them squared up and everything.
Yeah.
But they're like structures, I guess. They also have big copper beech trees, you know, which are huge trees. They're not structures.
Right.
So it's a problem, you know, if we review something that looks nice, the setting is good, because they're not very noticeable at all. Sometimes we've approved if you go down a dead-end street and the house is in the woods, kind of, you know, which not too many people are going down to it
Right.
in the first place. And then being in the woods, you really have to drive in the driveway to see the house. And we've approved them in situations like that. But the Cheyenne one was bad news.
We do have in the front of the house a row of, it's not a hedge yet, but it should be, it's all hydrangeas. We have 15, I think, from one end of the driveway, and they are set up because of
We're on a
the
hill,
street
like-
is lower than
Right.
the edge of the road, so they should be growing. We're fertilizing them and watering them and
Yeah, but
hopefully
again,
loving them enough that they will grow, and where they are up higher anyways, maybe that will be enough to appease you?
Not really.
No?
If this was coming to us without solar panels on it, we would suggest doing ground-mounted in the back of the property, because it's open there too. There are no trees in the back. And it would be ideal, because then you could place them at the proper angle, because this is kind of a shallow angle.
But 28 panels would be a lot of panels. It would take up a lot of the backyard, which has a garden and a shed, that you approved.
Right.
And
Title
I
V.
I don't see truly where we could do, and there is one large dogwood in the backyard that I really don't think it would work. The only other place it would work would be where we would potentially put a garage if we don't have plans to do that at this point, but certainly if we in the future were to sell sell the house, we would want to at least say, well, you can put it there. We don't want to have panels there, which would basically not allow them to put up a garage if they would choose.
Yeah.
So I don't, just because the house is far off the road, I don't know if you noticed, so there's really more front yard than backyard to our house.
Well, it's quite a bit backyard too, though. If you put them right along the very back, practically to the property line, I'm not sure what the zoning would permit, how close you could get to the property line, but that'd really be the best place, I think. There have been several ground-mounted ones. There's a house not on 6A, but just off 6A, up around Pine Street, maybe, I forget exactly, which came up like 10 years ago, and they put them right next to their house, ground-mounted, and it turned out there were hedges in front of it that, were very mature, and you could drive by and you wouldn't see these ground-mounted solar panels. There's another one out near your house, which is ground-mounted.
Yeah, on
About half of them were
Yeah.
ground-mounted and half of them were put on the house. But there are, I think, about 12 panels there that are ground-mounted. There's 2 rows, like 5 and 5 above.
Well, here's the thing. Somebody has to be the messenger of the bad news, so I guess it might as well be me. If this application had come to us before the panels had been installed, we'd absolutely have denied the application. So now we're in the very awkward and uncomfortable position of telling you that we're going to deny this application after the panels have been installed. And I believe you that you were either misled by the company or they were ignorant of our requirements. Maybe you have some redress with them.
Well,
But I would, and if you do, from a cost point of view, to plant an effective screen that would hide those panels cost a lot of money or a lot of time, one or the other. And
What
I
about-
don't see an easy way out here.
Can I ask about the house on Helmsman? That doesn't appear to have trees in front of the house, and that is facing, I mean, I have a photo of it right here. It's got one tree, but it's very small. I
Right.
can see the panels on the roof there, and that's literally probably a tenth of a mile from the house on Cheyenne.
Right. And we have a picture, and it's in my mind right now, of two trees that were photoshopped onto that as to where they were going to plant some holly trees. If they put in like 6, 8 foot tall holly trees, it would have done a starting of shielding them.
So they didn't do it, and you've
And they
given them
and
the
they
approval.
took down.
No,
Took
they've
down
been,
one tree.
they've been sent, you're talking about 11 Helmsman?
Helmsman.
Yes.
They were sent and received a violation notice this month,
Yeah.
because it's not according to the approved,
Right.
they were supposed to do
They were
plantings.
supposed to
Yep.
do plantings.
Yep.
And at the same time, they took a tree down. So this is what we deal with on these cases.
And I feel your pain. Is anybody even aware where our house is? I mean, we have
Oh, yeah.
a South
we're all aware of it.
Yarmouth.
We've all gone.
I know, and that's how it came. I
but-
have to admit that I got a phone call from someone in the area asking if we changed the policy on solar panels because unfortunately you were the target. And that's how we found out that they had been installed.
But, well, what I started to say was that we're in the South Yarmouth area. I mean, literally, if we were, I'm going to be generous and say a half mile would be, I mean, we can see the highway
I know.
from our house. So it just seems
We
like, can we
don't-
change the area so that our area is
Well-
not? Why?
Well, because it's a state statute, we don't determine the limits of the historic district. Fortunately or unfortunately, your house is in the historic district as defined by the state of Massachusetts.
Which is everything north of Route 6.
So we have no control over that. I mean, I suppose we could petition the state to change the geographic limits of the historic district, but as presently constituted, you're in the historic district.
But would you feel like my house is, or our house is in a historic area? I mean, it's not 6A,
It's not a relevant question.
right?
The question
I
isn't
understand
relevant.
that. It's not going to
sorry.
change the answer, but you and I would both say that it's not in one of the more historical parts. It's not in Bass River. It's not in Yarmouth Port. It just happens to be guilty of being on the wrong side, which most people would consider the right side of the highway, but in this case, it's the wrong side of the highway. So, too bad we can't be green, I guess. It's just upsetting, and I'm not directing it at you. It's just too bad that they did this, and we can see how much money we are not going to be saving. It just seems like you'd want a lower carbon footprint. I mean, I think that that's pretty important. I think that, you know, at some point,
We're hoping for the day when the technology will improve to the point where these panels are less conspicuous. Right now, they're right there. You can't possibly miss
but they're
seeing
not.
them.
They don't look bad. I mean, do you think that looks bad? It's flush. It's right with the house. It's not garish I mean, I think you could make an argument that if you were just driving by, you really wouldn't, and you have to turn to see our house because it is so far off the road. I accept your answer, but I
It
just
doesn't give
think-
me any pleasure to be telling you this.
I understand that. I just feel like there should be some leeway for you folks to make a common sense. You know, and to me, it's common sense. Maybe to you, it isn't. I don't know. I mean, isn't each case individual, I guess is what I'm asking you. And obviously, when the Historic Commission came to be, there were no solar panels. But because they're attached to the house, they're part of the structure. Am I understanding correctly?
There were solar panels. In 1973, there were solar panels.
Oh, there were.
I was putting them on houses that I designed.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So I would suggest you're probably a solar panel fan. So it
Yes,
must
I am.
give you no pleasure
I
at
have
really.
24 on my house.
I'm assuming you're not.
And the house is designed specifically for solar energy. The window placement, the fact that I have geothermal heating and cooling, and my electric bill, my power bill, is $150 a year.
That's fabulous. Congratulations.
So,
That's
I
awesome.
design good houses.
Yes, I would say.
In fact, I've had a lot of practice.
But if they're in the historic district, they're also designed so that the panels are not visible from a
That's
public way.
Yeah, and you
That's
know,
the bottom line.
your house is a simple house. However, it has shutters on it. It's tasteful. The window selection is more Old Cape Cod-ish. The shingles on the roof are also architectural shingles, which more and more people are putting them on for replacing their old ones.
Right.
And they tend to look more like wooden shingles. You know, 50 years ago, there were a lot more wooden shingles right on 6A, certainly, but off 6A too. And then as the price went up and up on cedar shingles, usually red cedar shingles, they started doing more architectural. And so your house ends up looking very nice, and it's appealing. And chances are, if the house was built on the other side of Route 6, it wouldn't look as good, because they would have had no grills in the windows, they would have not put up shutters, and they would still have regular shingles on the roof. So there's benefits. I looked at that house I mentioned that has all the trees in front of it. I looked at the assessor's listing on that house, and it was interesting that the value of the property has dropped recently. It dropped by $16,000, and I'm not sure why, but it was just odd. I've never seen a house drop value on the assessment
drastic.
values. Well, the house was, in total, it was only 125, something like that, and it had dropped 16.
Okay. So what is our recourse here? I know at the beginning, somebody mentioned, well, I've heard a couple of things. Trees in the front, which,
Very expensive proposition to effectively screen out those panels.
and
I
what
don't
kind
know
of
that you wanna
time
go in
frame would we have to present that to you? If we chose to do it, and, I mean, I don't know. I just want to have all my options and what my
Yeah.
timeline is.
I don't know, I think you'd have to put some sizable evergreen type of trees in.
I think you'd have to come, the best we could do for you tonight,
Architectural.
if we decided to go this route, is to table this application, and for you to come back with with a landscape plan that we can accept. Now, I suppose we should, in all fairness, since you've had this really unfortunate thing happen to you, we should give you some guidance as to what we'd like to see. But I can tell you, even before we go down that road, it's going to be a very expensive proposition to effectively screen out those panels.
Well, let me explain to you that Trinity Solar will be paying for those
Okay,
trees,
well,
whatever
there
they
you go.
are.
Sky's the limit then. All right. Well,
I think that's the right way to go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so too. I think they, I
mean,
want to be careful about what I say, and I don't know them.
And
but
I might not like what the plan is for the trees, and if I don't like that, then
Right,
the
you-
panels
you
will
have the
come
option.
down. But
Yeah.
it's got to be acceptable to us visually as well.
Well, yeah.
I mean, do they have to go in large? Can they go in, with the growth? I'm not saying I want them to go in
No,
you know, at 1
can't be
foot tall, but
saplings.
they don't have to go in as 15-foot tall trees, do they? Or whatever height you decide.
You'd probably have to start,
Eight
I
to
mean,
10.
8 to 10.
Okay.
Minimally, and a lot of them, not just a few. I mean, it's going to have to be across the expanse of the front of the house, and
And preferably
also
evergreen,
you've got
not the
vantages
hydrangea.
from the side. It's a daunting.
From the side as well?
Well, you don't want to see it from the public. You don't want to see the panels from the public, from a public way. So that doesn't mean just standing in front of the house. That means along West Great Western Road.
Yeah.
Right.
Part of the problem is there's a lot of traffic on the road. I use it frequently myself, coming off of 6A, come down Weir Road and through West Great Western. And there are different housing developments off of that road. So there's quite a bit of traffic. And people don't drive awfully fast. There was one a few years ago that went right through the stop sign, and I think someone got killed when they hit the barrier on the other side.
Yeah, that was a few years back.
That's seldom, hopefully.
You sure this isn't a ploy because you don't like our Christmas lights? If this isn't a ploy, I mean, we can't now see the Christmas lights from the road if there's a whole bunch of trees there. You gotta be careful, you gotta know what you're asking. I mean, a lot of people aren't doing that anymore. I don't know. All right, so what kind of timeline? I'm sorry, I know these other people need to get up here.
2 weeks. Can you come back in 2 weeks with a,
I don't know, because the Trinity person
He was
didn't show up.
supposed
So that is just added to the list. So I will call them in the morning and
Probably
see
your
if we
your
can
best
get,
move.
because, again, they're going to have to
Yeah.
pay. And if maybe they want to just take them down, I don't know. But
Well, that would be the easiest,
for them, maybe.
maybe.
yeah, there's some good architects, landscape architects around that do exactly this kind of thing. And so if they hired a fellow, he could get a plan together in a couple of weeks easily.
Okay.
Okay.
Make a motion to table the application?
Yes.
Second.
And we can see where they're at by March 11th. Is March 11th acceptable? That's
Yes.
the next meeting, and at least you could give us an update as to where you're at.
Okay.
You can't do plantings till April anyway,
Yeah,
so
that's it.
if that's the route you're going to go. Okay, we're good with that.
Okay, so there's a motion,
And I seconded.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Good luck.
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't I give you one? Oh.
The next item is concerned with an addition at 183 Eileen Street. Philip and Laurel Henderson are the owners, and Donald Hockenrider is the agent. Don?
Could you state your names, please?
Yeah, Philip Henderson, I'm the owner.
Thank you.
Don Harkenrider.
And are there any abutters present? Or the-
So you're at the end of a cul-de-sac.
It's just a dead
That's
end.
what
and
I meant.
Yeah.
Yes,
I do have
okay.
woods behind me and woods on the side of me.
Right.
So the addition really won't be visible from the,
No,
Street
actually,
at
yeah,
all,
the
right?
only people that could probably see the addition probably can only see it this time of year, I
Right.
think, pretty much.
Yeah.
They might be able to, see through the leaves and stuff, but
Any other questions?
no, all the materials that you're proposing are designed to match the existing building
Yes.
materials, right? So it'll be an integral part
Yeah.
of the structure. Yeah.
And you're removing the upper deck?
Just a portion of
A
it,
portion,
yeah. 5 feet roughly.
okay.
Yeah. I move to approve as submitted. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you.
So if you would sign
Yep.
a document here. Good. It just says that you're going to build it according to plan, and if there are going to be any changes, let us know in advance.
Yeah, we're gonna bring them back if we do.
Yep. Good, thank you.
Okay.
Yep, all set. All set.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you all.
You're welcome.
The next item is concerned with revisions to a plan for a new single-family home at 5 Marshside Drive. The homeowners are Arthur and Ann Chaparrals, and George Boderas is the agent. George, okay.
Amanda Cunningham, I'm the designer.
Thank you.
Are there any abutters to this property?
Are the garage doors the carriage house style,
Yes.
like this, not as shown on the plan, is that
Right.
correct?
Have you thought about wood instead of AZAC?
No.
I know AZAC is forever,
Yes.
but that's exactly the problem. Because one day it's going to wind up in a landfill, and it never biodegrades.
Nothing wrong forever.
Well, that isn't our purview, but I just thought I'd throw it out there. From an environmental perspective, AZAC is not a wonderful material because it is forever.
And there to stay, yes.
Yeah, just wondered if you'd thought about it.
No, we haven't,
All right.
but we might. Actually, I take that back.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Oh, but I can go to bed now. Thank you.
Thank you.
See the chairman, he has something for you to
Yes.
sign.
Thanks, sir.
Let's put in there. Contract.
I want to give something to Amanda. I forgot to give it.
Come back with it.
Maybe next time.
He had to throw it in there.
Thank you.
You too.
That's a big house.
Nice lot.
Yeah,
It is beautiful.
a lot of grading. The next item is concerned with replacing two garage doors at 21 Birch Pond Way. Judy and Peter Smith, homeowners. Good evening.
Will you be able to keep this slight archway over the,
Yes, the archway will stay.
oh, that's great.
It's not
That's nice.
attached. I know the picture there is awful,
Oh,
so I brought one that you can actually see better, so you can see
Oh,
that it's a
that's-
separate piece if you'd like to see it.
Yeah,
that's,
if you,
Yes.
oh, nice. Oh, great.
It's really going to brighten up that.
Yeah, well,
And there's other pictures of the front of the house that are better. That's the existing doors right now, and that's the existing front of the house. Bob, you've seen this before.
Okay, yep.
There's existing, and there's the proposed
type of
doors.
doors.
yeah, that'll look nice.
Good.
Make a motion to accept the application.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Good. So the R value is about 12, so you probably feel it.
We have one that, that used to live in an old motorcycle helmet. We had just put it up along the side.
And they've lived there for about 4 or 5 years now. And they nest every year and have little guys every year.
Oh, no kidding. I bet they'll like the new doors, too.
They do, there's about
So
6-inch.
You would sign this
Do you need
document.
to sign? Question aside, on the first folks, why doesn't the building department and Old Kings Highway coordinate? Because clearly they were given a building permit.
Yeah, they usually are very well coordinated, and it's, I don't know how this slipped by.
An apparent oops, in other words.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
I do a lot of construction loans, and I make sure that every order of conditions is done, every Old Kings Highway, irrespective of where it is.
And I have one question too. Isn't it the homeowner's responsibility to apply, not the folks
Well,
doing the?
They had signed a document giving the contractor the responsibility of getting all and any permits and clearances they needed. So the wording of that was such that if the guy did his job, it would have gotten done. But
But it seemed like he, Christian, I recognize that you're trying to be, you want to get people to comply without ruffling too many feathers, so to
Right,
speak.
right.
But at the same time, having a copy of what was submitted to Old Kings Highway, knowing that you should show up, I mean, that's their assurance. Maybe it would be helpful if the building department recommended that people be given that. I mean, it would at least.
Very often, we're
There's
the
issues
first
here that
one.
we can't discuss right now, but yeah, we do. This one fell through the cracks. It's unfortunate. But
Very-
It seemed like such a shame.
It is the owner's responsibility to be sure that they're adhering to all other laws and ordinances. And a permit issued is only a permit to install them. It doesn't say, a permit doesn't mean that this overrides all other bylaws in the town. It just says you have a permit to install. But it doesn't, like I said, say that they are in compliance. And
Alleviate
There's two sides to every story. Actually, on this one, there's three. So we're just going to leave it at that. And it is unfortunate. Hopefully they can work it out.
Usually, we're the first ones to, when a project is coming forward, we're the first ones to address it.
Yeah.
even before any of the other committees, you know, like.
Oh, you're first.
Conservation and so on. Because the people think if Old Kings Highway doesn't approve of what this house looks like to begin with, then we better go back to the drawing boards. And so they come here first.
No, I remember the
Yeah.
process. We built the house, so I remember that, you know, it was, but if you're unfamiliar, it is easy to.
This will be our fourth time in front of you guys.
How it should be.
Thank you.
Two more.
He passes that. It is one exemption, I got it.
Oh, can you pass that to Richard too, please? That's for you.
Cranberry,
All the work is back of the house, you really can't see it from the road.
stone veneer wall patio, glass fire pit. Looks all right to me. When is the meeting in May?
I was going to bring that up as well, May 13th.
Oh,
So that's why I said, I'm not going to be here on the 22nd, so it's up to you whether you want me to have someone else come and sit in,
Yeah.
or you can reschedule it to the following Monday,
you do it the 29th.
because, you know, there's only one meeting in May, so it kind of,
Yeah, so,
there's still a couple of weeks behind. Does everyone agree with that?
you know, what do you think?
Is that okay?
I think it's
I
good.
think we need to motion and vote on it.
All right.
Move the April 22nd scheduled meeting to April 29th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
This looks nice.
Ancient cemetery.
Yeah, Ancient Cemetery, they're working on doing some work there, and they did provide me with a mock-up of an idea for a sign.
I had no idea signs were so expensive. Look at the price on this
Well, I
thing.
know, well, you know what, we don't have to worry, we're not paying for it.
But I'm concerned about it. It says they hand carve their signs, and they're not made on a carving machine. But what's the difference in the final product?
I don't know.
And the
This is-
difference in the cost, and have
I
other
don't know.
bids
This
been,
is mainly for the design phase at this point, just to see if, do you have any other suggestions for the design? And then they're going to come through with an actual application, you know. But I said, you know, give me what you have, and I'll at least get some feedback.
Is that what it's going to say, Ancient Cemetery?
It's going to say Ancient Cemetery. It will have the Yarmouth logo, and it will have the right year. They don't know what the year is yet, but, and those are the colors that they were thinking of. And then there's a location, I did put a map together on the third page. I asked how many signs, and there's going to be one. And it made sense. They suggest put it at the corner of Ancient Way in Center Street, instead of Center Street and the entrance to the cemetery, because that would cause some backup right there. So, and they want to encourage people to enter the cemetery through ancient ways, so they felt putting it at that corner would be better. So I kind of superimposed it in there just to give you an idea where.
The way they've photoshopped this,
Oh, that was me, that was sad, I know.
it makes it look enormous.
I know, trust you,
Billboard.
trust me, I only did
Your
it.
reservations now.
I know. So the mainly question, do you have any issue with like it being white, the pole being white, the colors of the sign? So I'll just get back to them tomorrow and tell them they can move forward with the appropriateness application.
It is still big. I mean, it's hard to, 45, let's see. It's pretty big,
What are the dimensions? 45?
45 high, and I assume they're just talking about the sign itself, not the
Yeah.
bracket. So,
Well,
it's not as big as it looks in the
30,
pictures, but
31?
Yeah, we need better measurements as well, but there
45
is no
by
measurement on the
36
brackets, I don't
wide.
think.
Six.
you'll see it.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice. It is
You can discuss size that day, sure. But at least I can give them, something to go move forward with, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
still under the 12-foot, 12
Yeah.
square foot.
Yeah.
And I think the design is fine, but I really think that they should be encouraged to get quotes.
I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will, yeah.
What was the price indicated?
Yeah, it is, it's
Yes.
Pat Armstrong in the Recreation Department. She's, let me put it this way, she's no fool when it comes to that. She will definitely make sure she gets the right
It's
quotes.
this, plus this,
Yeah,
plus this. And my question is, what's the difference in the appearance
yeah.
between hand-carved and machine-carved?
They're also very careful with this because it is an ancient cemetery, and there's a lot of historic stuff within the cemetery as well that they're going to be putting signage up for. That doesn't have to come through Old Kings Highway. It's informational things. So I don't know. I can speak to them to see if, yes. And so,
Looks
yeah,
successful.
I can talk to them too and find that out. Do they need to go that route?
What was
It could be that they're not aware that they can do something. I'll talk to,
The Old Kings Highway sign, entering the area, that was 2000, wasn't it?
what sign, oh, I don't recall it. I don't have it with me.
I think it was 2000,
I'll talk to Pat.
because that had gold carved letters too. And more of them. Wasn't as big as that, but most of that's blank space.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I'll talk
think
to Pat.
That's a high price.
It is big. But again, this is just really preliminary, and those notes might be from a Harwich sign, because that sign has the Harwich logo on it.
Oh, yeah.
So the quotes could have been for something else. I can't say for sure. I didn't speak to Pat. I just got the picture of it and said I'd run it by you guys to see what you think. So I'll get more info, plus they'll have an application hopefully for the next meeting.
Good, okay. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.